A farmer, as he wakes up in the morning, in the early hours of the morning, he's got a bit of an idea what he was doing yesterday, and by the time the mornings come, he's planned his day. And if you come in with all your religious stuff, you mess up his day. He's on edge because he's waiting for you to go, and so he can get and do his work. So that's an absolute no-no. We avoid that at any cost.
And if you want to be there at shearing time, get your overalls on and help bring the sheep in.
One of the things I try to do is to make these people, and I do this with purpose, make them realise that I love them. And
you build a relationship with them.
Yeah, just develop a relationship, and they take a while to think, who is this turkey?
When we arrived at the new house, this fellow in South Auckland who was near us had made contact with Des, and we got there and Des had a band of guys from church just show up. We weren't expecting them. They unpacked our stuff, the ladies brought food.
Because he had no shoes, remember?
Oh, Des never wears shoes.
And he's always willing to help. You know, if he sees someone that needs help, Christian or non-Christian, he'll go in there and, with the Christian attitude, and try to portray Jesus through his actions.
This process of loving them, building a relationship, because relationships is the vehicle of influence. So if you want to influence someone, you must have a good relationship with them.
Well, God's really used them in that to help us.
So there isn't a circumstance that we can come across that we can't call on Des and Mercia to help us with.
Des and Mercia loved us, and they were kind, and they were there when we needed them, without asking for anything in return. They were selfless.
Des sort of approached us and said, that he had it laid upon his heart that he would like to have a one-to-one with me. And so I said yes. Being a new Christian, when I look back, that was very, very important. Having that input with somebody else and having that one-on-one.
People will respond to love, but they won't respond to coming in and doing it your way, insisting on your way. You've really got to be a servant.
Because he knows about the farm, and he knows the busy times, you have times that are busier than others. So he'll just come and he does it, sort of just works alongside you.
For me, a retired farmer, where I can help and just be there for them is tremendously important. And sometimes you don't do Bible study at all. That doesn't worry me one bit. I'll just go and help.
Des is just always seems to be there if you need a friend or anything, and he'll be there, and like I said, he'll ring you up the night before.
And usually ring him the night before and say, hey, what about I come and milk for you? And milk with you in the morning. And they invariably say, oh yeah, oh, okay, and they could give their work of the morning off, and so just go and milk with them. And at the end of milking, you clean up the shed and he'll take the cows away, and then they'll invite you back for a cup of tea.
And then you share the word with them and that, and the more you read the word, you develop a hunger for it.
Graham wants to read the whole book, and he will. If you don't watch him, he'll just carry on reading and reading. And he's a very intelligent young guy, incredibly intelligent actually, very quick to pick up on the scriptures.
We started up a young men's Bible study group from that on a Tuesday night, which I've been going to for the last 18 months.
It took him a little while, but then he finally worked out it wasn't the group talking about Jesus, and it wasn't about going to church. It was about this relationship with Jesus. And when he clicked to that, man, he's been on fire ever since.
When I finally worked that out, that's when I decided that, yeah, well, that's fine. I think I'm ready to ask God into my life, you know, invite them in and ask for forgiveness, and yeah, and I sort of haven't looked back really.
A guy like Graham has had a second chance, not only at marriage but at life in general. Like, his life was going in a completely different direction before Des came along, and I'm just so thankful that Des took the time to be with him, and he was obedient to what the Lord was asking him to do. And if he hadn't, so many things would have changed. So, you know, we wouldn't be together, and Graham would be going still down on the same path that he was going.
But we do find the best time to go before breakfast with people, and then we've not disturbed their day. So we'll leave home usually about 5:30, and at 6 o'clock get there, and we'll read the Bible with people, pray, and leave just after 7. And so it's the time they're usually getting up, and their day is just normal, and they're happy to do that. Their farming hasn't been disrupted.
Sometimes he was the only spiritual input we would get, because maybe we couldn't get to church on Sunday. You know, there'd be a crisis on the farm, or the kids were sick or something. And
there are a lot of farmers in New Zealand that, because their herd size certain times of the year, may not get to church, say for 3 or 4 months because of the workload. And to have Des and Mercia come in, or someone like them, to come in and sit down with you at night or at some stage during the day, open the Word and share it to you, it's just, oh, it's heaven.
Mercia and I usually get together, and we, through our week to week basically, we'll organise a get together point, and we do, and we'll pray. I found it really neat, and I love my time with Mercia.
I sort of consider Mercia to be my spiritual mother, because she was just, we identified. I guess we may be similar characters, and Mercia never judged me for the things that I was feeling.
When you're the parents, it's hard to have open dialogue with your teenage daughter without issues. But as soon as you get someone like Mercia, and those barriers are gone.
Well, I met Rose because of her mother with Sandy. I had started to have a prayer time and a reading with her, and I saw Rose struggling in her life as a young teenager. She would have been about 16, and so I asked her if she would like someone to come alongside her and read the Bible and pray with her, and she said she would. So she's one of the young girls I get with at 6 o'clock in the morning.
She comes usually on a Friday morning, bright and early at 6 o'clock.
And I make her a Milo and a coffee for myself, and knock on the door and go into her room, and she's still in bed, and we read the scriptures and pray.
We sort of just talk about things that have happened during the week, and then we'll get into God's Word.
She tells me about her life. I ask her how her week's been and where she's at.
And I'm starting to appreciate it a lot, because I'm realising what impact it's actually having, how I'm learning more and getting to know God more.
We've just got new neighbours. They've just come in down here, and I'm just starting to mention to these people, oh, you really should show me how to do this, and because I can come and milk when you guys need a weekend off, and I've mentioned that to them twice now, and after a while, if I mention it again, they'll think, oh, this guy's serious, because they haven't had a day off since they shifted here. And so that's something that I believe God's doing to me. So I'm getting to know them. Every time we see them, we stop and talk to them. I see them round about once a week when we buy milk, and I'm just going to let God do whatever He does. And Mercy will get them up for a meal, and she occasionally bakes a loaf of bread and takes it down, and we'll just let God do what He does best, and we'll just do what we do best. It's just, and God willing, they'll come to faith. They don't know it yet.